This video is not advised for all ages. It may or may not contain visual images or scary thoughts. If you are easily scared or faint of heart or afraid of the dark, do not watch. You've been warned. Hello and welcome back to Super Weekend Scary Story Time. Tonight we'll be doing Cove. This one is divided into a set of forum posts, so I'll just be reading the name or an abbreviated version of the name, followed by their posts. I will not read the subject because it's the same thing. Cove, local kids show. Every single time, obviously. Okay, Skies Hail 033. Does anyone remember this kid show? It was called Cove, and I must have been 6 or 7. I never found a reference to it anywhere, so I think it was on a local station around 1971 or 1972. I lived in Ironton at the same time. I don't remember which station, but I do remember it was on a weird time like 4 p.m. Mike Painter, 65. It seems really familiar to me too. I grew up outside of Ashland and was 9 years old in 72. Cove was about pirates. I remember a pirate marionette at the mouth of the cave talking to a little girl. Skies. Yes, okay, I'm not crazy. I remember Pirate Percy. I was always kind of scared of him. He looked like he was built from parts of other dolls. Real low budget. His head was an old porcelain baby doll. Looked like an antique that didn't belong on the body. I don't remember what station this was. I don't think it was WTSF though. Jaren 2005. Sorry to reconstruct this old thread, but I know exactly what show you mean, Skies Hail. I think Cove ran only for a couple months in 71, not 72. I was 12 and I watched it a few times with my brother. It was Channel 58, whatever station that was. My mom would let me switch it to it after the news. Let me see what I remember. It took place in Cove, and it was about a little girl who imagined herself to be friends with pirates. The pirate ship was called Laughingstock, and Pirate Percy wasn't a very good pirate because he got scared too easily, and there was Calliope music constantly playing. Don't remember the girl's name, Janice or Jade or something. I think it was Janice. Skies. Thank you, Jaren. Memory slid back when you mentioned that the Laughingstock and Channel 58. I remember the bow of the ship was a wooden smiling face with the lower jaw submerged. It looked like it was swallowing the sea, and it had that awful Edwine voice and laugh. I especially remember how jarring it was when they switched from the wooden plastic model to the foam puppet version of the head that talked. Mike. I remember now too. Do you remember this part, Skies? Hail? You have to go inside. Skies. Ugh, Mike, I got a chill reading that. Yes, I remember that. That's what the ship always told Percy when there's a spooky place he had to go in, like a cave or a dark room where the treasure was. And the camera would push in on Laughingstock's face with each pause. You have to go inside. With those two eyes askew and that flopping foam jaw and the fishing line that had opened and closed it. Ugh, it looked so cheap and awful. You guys remember the villain? He had a face that was just a handlebar mustache above the really tall and narrow teeth. Kevin Hart. I honestly thought the villain was Pirate Percy. I was about 5 when the show was on. Nightmare fuel. Jaren. That wasn't the villain. The puppet with the mustache. That was the villain's sidekick, Horace. Horrible. He had a monocle, too. but it was on the top of the mustache. I used to think that meant he only had one eye. But yeah, the villain was another marionette, the Skin Talker. I can't believe what they would let us watch back then. Kevin, Jesus H. Christ. The Skin Talker. What kind of kids show were you watching? I seriously could not look at the screen when the Skin Taker showed up. He just descended out of nowhere on his strings, just a dirty skeleton wearing that brown top hat and cape, his glass eyes that were too big for a skull. Christ Almighty. Skies. Wasn't his top hat and cloak all sewn up crazily? Was that supposed to be children's skin? Mike. Yeah, I think so. Remember his mouth didn't open and close. His jaw just slid back and forth. I remember the little girl said, "Why does your mouth move like that?" And the Skin Taker didn't look at the girl, but at the camera and said, "To grind your skin." Skies. I'm so relieved that other people remember this terrible show. I used to have this awful memory, a bad dream I had where the opening jingle ended, the show faded into black, and all the characters were there, but the camera was just cutting to each of their faces, and they were just screaming. The puppets and marionettes were flailing spastically, and just all screaming. The girl was just moaning and crying like she had been through hours of this. I woke up many times from that nightmare. I used to wet the bed when I had it. Kevin. I don't think that was a dream. I remember that was an episode. Guys, no, not possible. There was no plot or anything. I'm literally just standing in place crying and screaming for the whole show. Kevin, maybe I'm malfunctioning the memory because you said that, but I swear to God, I remember seeing what you had described. They just screamed. Jaren. Oh God, yes, little girl Janice. I remember seeing her shake, and the Skin Taker screaming, though, his gnashing teeth, his jaw carving so wildly, I thought it would come off its wire hinges. I turned it off, and this was the last time I watched. I ran to tell my brother, and we didn't have the courage to turn it back on. Mike. I visited my mom today at the nursing home and asked her about when I was little in the early 70s, when I was 8 or 9, if she remembered kids show Candle Cove. She said she was surprised I could remember that, and asked why. I said because I used to think it was so strange that you said, "I'm gonna go watch Candle Cove now, Mom." Then you would tune the TV to static and just would watch dead air for 30 minutes. You had a big imagination with your little pirate show. And that was Candle Cove. Not scary per se, but it is kind of creepy. Okay, well, join us next week where we will probably be doing the other Watchers. Thank you. And good night.